I came to Bhutan in 2002 to pursue my higher studies at the Tango Buddhist College in Thimphu. His Holiness the Gyalwa Dokhampa decided that it would be best for me to study in Bhutan after the demise of my first tutor, Sherab, in 2001. I came to Bhutan in 2002 to pursue my higher studies at the Tango Buddhist College in Thimphu. His Holiness the Gyalwa Dokhampa decided that it would be best for me to study in Bhutan after the demise of my first tutor, Sherab, in 2001.
Sherab had been with Gyalwa Dokhampa since he was 6 and had been a father figure to him. Gyalwa Dokhampa says that even though Sherab punished him a little when he was extremely naughty, he could sense his genuine love even as a child. Sherab was a master meditator and a student of the great Ladakhi yogi Trushik Bema Chugul, one of the heart sons of Drupong Shakyashiri.
The loss of Sherab was like losing a father for me. In many ways, his kindness towards all, his habit of giving second chances to everyone, his humility, clear of using anything that belonged to the monastery or was public property, greatly influenced my outlook on life. After his passing away, I think His Holiness the Gyalwa Dokhampa was concerned about my incomplete education and upbringing, as I was just 20 years old at that time. Finally, due to the kindness of His Holiness the present Chekhenpo Tuku Jigme Chöda and His Majesty the 4th Tukyepo Jigme Singye Wangchu, who was the then King of Bhutan, I came to Bhutan for my further studies. Gyalwa Dokhampa always spoke highly of Bhutanese masters, about their wisdom, and with particular emphasis on their humility. Gyalwa Dokhampa especially wanted me to receive teachings from His Holiness the 60th Jetrizu Rinpoche and present Chekhenpo Rinpoche.
Strangely enough, Gyalwa Dokhampa had visited Bhutan on a pilgrimage in 2000 for the first time and had been to the Tango monastery as well. He recalls thinking to himself that he was glad he was not staying in Tango. It was in the middle of nowhere and too quiet for someone who had lived in the bustling town of Darjeeling for most of his life. However, the 9 years of his stay in Tango turned out to be some of the most beautiful years of his life. Even now, many years after he graduated from the Tango Buddhist Institute, he remembers his small cottage there with great fondness.
I remember being struck by the silence at the Tango that was broken only by the rushing river. On the first day of my lesson, all the peaks were covered in snow, even though it was already the 4th lunar month. It took me a while to get used to this silence. Initially, I deeply desired to return to Darjeeling. However, former Tsuklak Lupin Rinpoche, Lupin Samten, who was the then principal of Tango, and His Holiness the Gyalwa Dokhampa managed to keep me at Tango by telling me every year that I just had 1 more year to go. I remain grateful for Lupin Samten's endless and unconditional kindness and understanding. Thanks to Lupin Samtenla, I had fallen in love with Tango by the 5th year of my stay. Thus, it was my stay at Tango where my love for solitude and silence grew.
Although Gyalwa Dokhampa's stay at Tango was memorable and all the teachers and fellow students always treated him well, It wasn't exactly a typical university life. One way or another, he was constantly reminded of the heavy responsibilities that accompanied the privileges of being a reincarnated one as a lineage holder of the Drukpa lineage. One of these was how others would judge him for everything he did or said.
I am often asked if I missed being a normal kid. In all honesty, I did want a simple, ordinary life when I was younger. Only with age I realized that every life holds its beauty and challenge. I joke that I may not have grown up enjoying Coca-Cola and burgers, but many Western children will not have also experienced the joy of ematasi, Bhutanese chili dish. I may not know how to waltz, but I can perform mass dances very well. I may not have spent much time with my family, but my life has always been filled with love and kindness from my teachers and the many kind people I have met throughout my life. I believe that, like our fingerprints, every individual's life experiences are unique to oneself. Therefore, comparing oneself to others only diminishes the joy in our own life.
When Gyalwa Dokhampa was in his 8th year as a student at Dango, a gathering of Drukpa masters and Khenpos was hosted at the Druk Amitabha in Nepal, where His Holiness the Gyalwang Drukpa shared his vision to strengthen the harmony and mutual respect among all Drukpas for the future of the Drukpa lineage. Gyalwang Drukpa gave the following advice to all those gathered there. I am saddened by some of our lineage holders having a very territorial attitude. We only want to look after our monasteries or our region, and no one seems particularly interested in caring for the lineage as a whole. The lineage is more important than individual masters or monasteries. The very reason a master becomes a master is through the practice of the teachings of the lineage. Masters build monasteries to sustain the lineage. It should not be the other way around. Unfortunately, we also tend to get attached to a monastery and an individual master, leaning towards the approach of my monastery, my guru, instead of Drukpa lineage master and Drukpa monastery. This attitude of referring to my monastery, my guru, is dangerous, as it creates fiefdoms that cause various divisions among lineage holders and monasteries. This individualistic attitude threatens the long-term survival, shared identity, to remain in harmony and unity with mutual respect, and ultimately to preserve the teachings of the Drukpa lineage.
I have always kept these words of His Holiness close to my heart. I have tried my best to contribute to the successful continuation of the 1,000-year-old Drukpa tradition wherever I have found the lineage to be existing. The annual Drukpa Council, ADC, was instituted to address these challenges and bring all the Drukpa masters and followers together in a spirit of mutual respect. The first ADC was held in Nepal in 2009 under the guidance of His Holiness the Gyalwa Dokhampa and with blessings of His Holiness the 70th Chekhenpo Tukujingme Choda. Since then, the ADCs that took place in Ladakh and Nepal have contributed to closer and frequent interactions among Drukpa lineage masters and followers from different parts of the Himalayan region. It is truly a joy now to see the roots of the Drukpa lineage strengthen and revive in many parts of the Himalayan region.
Regardless of the region or the country, the essence of the teachings and practices are the same for all Drukpa lineage masters and followers, with slight differences in the mudras and some ways of conducting rituals, tunes, etc.
Whether you are a Drukpa lineage follower from Tibet, Bhutan, Nepal or India, the deity visualization and dissolution practices are the same. All the Drukpa lineage practitioners consider the four-armed Mahakala, Mahakali Tisulma and the raven-faced Mahakala as protector deities of the lineage and Chakrasamvara.
In addition to the essence of the practice from the biographies of past masters, you will see that the masters from different countries were always receiving teachings from each other and reviving what would otherwise have been lost to time. These interactions led to the intersection of the teachings of Drukpa masters from various parts of the Himalayas.
It is safe to assume that there may not be any Drukpa meditator in Bhutan who is not a disciple of Bhutan's 68th Chapje Tizur Rinpoche. The Domsum Gyuik, the lineage of 3 yanas written by His Holiness Chapje Tizur, says that His Holiness journeyed to the Tibet and received teachings from various Drukpa masters of Tibet, such as Chokta Rinpoche of Dingboche Monastery and 8th Drukpa Shogun of Deshin Chengur Monastery. The root guru of 68 Chekembo for Drukpa lineage was Tuvang Tenzin Gyatso, who was student of renowned yogi Tuvang Shakyeshiri, known as the manifestation of Chakrasambhara. Tuvang Shakyeshiri was one of the favorite students of 6 Gyalwa Dokhampa Tembe Nyima, and Shakyeshiri's lineage goes back to Gyalwang Drukpa Pasawangpo. In this manner, with great effort and sacrifices, His Holiness Chapje Tizur Rinpoche revived many Drukpa teachings that had disappeared in Bhutan. When His Holiness the 70th Chekembo, also a student of late Chapje Tizur Rinpoche, gave a teaching on Teshokhorlo Dompa in Punakha in 2012, more than 500 Drukpa lineage followers from Nepal, Ladakh and Darjeeling, including myself, were fortunate enough to receive it. Later, hundreds of Drukpa monks and nuns from outside Bhutan also received the Vinaya vows from His Holiness the 70th Chekembo. This is just one example demonstrating that all followers of the Drukpa lineage, no matter where they are from, do end up connecting at some point, like two streams from the same source, separating and merging again at different point. That is why there is much reason for Drukpa lineage followers in different countries to be harmoniously connected as visioned in ADCs.
Gyalwa Dokhampa remembers to this day how he was appointed the chairperson of the first annual Drukpa Council. He says he was utterly unprepared, as he had never even organized a birthday party in his life, and suddenly he was thrust into organizing an international event that would involve thousands of people. To make matters worse, no one around him had the experience to help him with this either. However, he accepted the challenge because it was the first time his guru had asked something of him, so he could not say no. Thus, with his guru's instruction and past karma, he became the chairperson of the first annual Drukpa Council when he was 28.
With the blessings of my guru, I chaired the first and second ADCs and was gifted with my first group of volunteers called the Gyalwa Dokhampa, meaning the thunder that inspires and encourages people to do virtuous deed. I'm so grateful to my Tango principal who sent me to Kanglung to do a trupshin and to give a talk at Sherapse College when I was studying in Tango. It was the students I met there and others who joined as volunteers to support me during the ADCs. The unwavering support and sincerity of the Gyalwa Dokhampa volunteers for more than a decade continues to make several activities in Bhutan and outside possible.
In 2010, Gyalwa Dokhampa was offered the Druk Ralung Shedrup Cherling Monastery by the community in Kabisa, not long after he graduated from Dango. But before deciding to accept the monastery, he sought the advice and the blessings of both his gurus, His Holiness the Jekempo, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa, and his teacher Tsukla Lopon Samten. His gurus and teacher told him that he would face some challenges, but accepting it would benefit the sentient beings. Previously, there used to be a small temple where Druk Ralung Shedrup Cherling